My week has consisted of teenagers and pizza. It's not a bad week at all, huh? On Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon, a group of teens came to the synagogue and sat amongst large piles of papers that had to be organized into mailings and Hebrew kits. They made copies and worked on bulletin boards, all so that we will be ready to open religious school in just 2 weeks. Powered by the best melted cheese that the Upper West Side has to offer, we finished almost everything. And I am truly grateful to these teens for showing up and for making this possible. This is what it means to be in community, to be part of something larger than yourself. To know that when you need something, your needs will be met, and when others need you, you will show up for them, not just mentally and spiritually, but also physically. However, this is what I fear we have truly lost sight of in the pandemic. We are more isolated, more egotistical, and more self-centered. We are less responsive and struggle to keep reservations. The time from calm and patient to frustrated and irate has grown shorter as the pandemic lengthens. We are slower to make plans and leave the house. New York City does not feel like the city that never sleeps anymore. It feels more like the city that sits at home, has everything delivered, and hops on Zoom a lot. Truly, whatever we can create using technology is often helpful, and it's a luxury of our times. But social media, emails, texts, FaceTime, Zooms, and live streams do not take the place of being together in person. It was not so long ago that we worried about teens who sat on their phones to talk to friends and stressed that they did not have real social skills, and that they were only able to communicate inside of their devices. If we really believed that technology could replace in-person community, then we wouldn't discuss how to minimize screen time and talk about creating norms, such as putting devices in a pile during mealtime. Yes, it is wonderful to be able to join a Zoom Shiva or watch a B'nai Mitzvah service online, but there's no one you can hug when you close the computer. High holiday services through StreamSpot are more accessible for those who cannot travel or are ill, but the internet cannot transmit the electric air that passes between people who are in a room together. Maybe I should clarify. It's not community in general that I am worried about. It is Jewish community. More specifically, the synagogue community. A synagogue is 3 things. It is a Beit Sefer, a house of learning, a Beit Tefillah, a house of prayer, and most importantly, a Beit Knesset, a house of gathering. We Jews gather. We gather in prayer because we need a minyan, a group of 10, to complete a full service. We gather in groups to study, to discuss, to debate, to deepen our understanding because our learning is enriched when we include other voices and ideas. We gather in times of triumph and times of sorrow for individuals and collective because support and sweetness are heightened by friendly faces and hands to hold. We gather in song because together our voices sound even more beautiful. We gather in sacred spaces hoping to feel connected to God and all things bigger than ourselves. We gather to remember, to reflect, and to reconcile. As Jews, we gather because when we do, we find strength in one another, and because we know that God's presence, the Holy Spirit, dwells among us when we are united. Synagogues are the central place for Jewish gathering because they are the central place where God dwells. Sure, we can feel God anywhere, but it is here that we keep a reminder of the holy Ark of the Covenant, God's dwelling place among our wandering ancestors. There are those who believe that you can make these connections happen anywhere just by sticking the words Jewish or community onto the name of an organization or a building. Yeah, you can bring a portable ark to a large room and have a service. Yeah, you can hire a scholar or a member of the clergy to teach a class or two, but this is not the true essence of Jewish community, and it can never replace a synagogue. These are merely one-off instances where there's no consistent relationship being built. Diamonds cannot be formed with only pressure. They, like the Jewish community, need time. Time together that only happens after weeks, months, years of being in sacred space with one another over and over and over again. Take, for example, the litmus test of B'nai Mitzvah. This is a significant Jewish life cycle and communal event. But when it happens off the bima, at the convenience of a family with only the people they want in the room, it's just a litany of prayers with a 13-year-old reading Torah. The true rite of B'nai Mitzvah is, at its core, a chance for a child to stake their claim in their Jewish community, to state that they are willing to be part of the community and are able to help in the work of sustaining the Jewish people. We welcome the larger community because of the support that that community has given to this child and this family in working to reach this rite of passage. In simple terms, it takes a village, and we celebrate the village along with the child. Each week, I sit here in our sanctuary on Saturday mornings, and I am overcome with pride as our B'nai Mitzvah students lead us in prayer, teach us Torah, and show us that they want to be part of our synagogue, part of our mission, part of our work, part of our community. How can B'nai Mitzvah services that happen outside the walls of a synagogue honor the teaching that the synagogue has provided, connect people to the Jewish community, or even remind everyone of the ongoing work it takes to have a sacred space? Of course, I understand that this sermon might literally be the definition of preaching to the choir. Here you all are sitting in front of me on a Shabbat evening, praying as a community each and every week. But I wonder, is that enough? Have we really reestablished our relationships here in this synagogue? Have we shown up enough? This week's Parsha Re'eh briefly tells us about how we must tear down all other idols and join in only one specific location to worship. The text details not only how we must come to this one spot all together, but also explains the things we will need to do when we're together, things that we might not do or might do differently when we are individuals worshiping alone in other spaces. Here, our ancient text gives us a very current lesson. Being in community requires us to put aside some of our individual wants and idiosyncrasies in order to establish unity. But we already know this. Our life experiences have taught us that when we stop thinking of ourselves and truly focus on being with one another, we are all heightened. How much have we put into our community? How much have we come back here and reestablished relationships? How much more can we give so that each person in this synagogue can find holiness and feel the presence of the Shekhinah. Our communities, our synagogues, cannot exist without each and every one of us being present and participating. 10 legs means that a centipede will not be able to walk. A synagogue without people will not be able to function. We need to be here. We need to join in. And we must remind those around us that this is the space where God dwells. Hillel said, Im ein ani li mili, ukshe'ani la'atzmi ma'ani, ve'im lo achshav, matai. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? There is no more apt motto for a synagogue. Come for others, be taken care of yourself, and do not delay in being part of this holy community. Shabbat Shalom.